Well, welcome everyone to the first episode of Big Bookie, the first big banter gambling podcast of its kind. We are going to bring you each week our favorite lines, favorite underdogs, and our matchups for the week. So, just to get us started, really what we are, we belong to the Big Banter Sports Media Network. We have a whole slew of Big Ten podcasts focusing on every single team. So if you have a favorite team, go out, go find our Big Ten affiliate and subscribe to their podcast. They are great. I love listening to each and every team. But really, we want to get this kicked off right for the season with all of the bets. We know that sports gambling is on the rise across the nation. So we really want to bring you the Big Ten focused matchups of the week and all those lines that you can take. So really, I want to give Brandon and Brant a chance to introduce themselves, kind of what the idea is and how we see this show going about. I know that Brant won't be here every week, but we wanted to have him on, the CEO of Big Banter. We had to have him for our first episode. So Brandon, I'll pass it to you, and then Brant, you can finish up.
Fantastic. I'm so excited, everybody. We are going to win a lot of coin this fall and in the spring and winter as well. I'm Brandon. I am the head of betting content here at Big Banter Sports. I'm going to bring you weekly this podcast, of course. We're going to also be posting TikToks throughout the year. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter at bjensen123, I will be posting plays every Saturday, live plays, free game plays. You got to follow. You got to get them in. We're here to make money. This is going to be a great season, everybody.
Yeah, and then just for a quick intro for myself, I'm Brant. I'm the CEO here at Big Banter. Super honored to hop on this pod and learn how to lose all my money as fast as possible from these two guys.
All right. I love to hear it. So to get us started, before I know we had week 0 last week, there were a few games, I think 7 games last week. But I really want to focus on our total win predictions. Who do we think will cover their spread for the season-long battle to the Big Ten championship? Brandon, we can start with you. Who do you think's got enough to cover their spread this year?
I'll scream it to the heavens. We already been over Wisconsin 8.5. It's a little juiced. Minus 140 is what I got it at. But you bring in Phil Longo and Tanner Mordecai from SMU. You got the air raid offense coming to Madison. When is the last time we've seen an offense in Madison that is going to be this lethal in the passing game? I couldn't tell you. But
no idea. Not since I've been watching Big Ten football, that's for sure.
I'd have to agree. And then we
Brandon,
also have
Brandon, I'm going to have to pump the brakes real quick. How can you just go and say that Wisconsin, a team who has stuck to the ground and pound literally since I was born, they've had an NFL running back on their roster every single year. All they do is tick the clock. They give Jonathan Taylor 45 carries a game, Melvin Gordon, Ron Dane, whoever's back there, they're pounding the ground. They don't pass the ball. They've had quarterbacks like Russell Wilson, still don't pass the ball. And suddenly they bring in Phil Longo, they bring in Luke Fickell. Everyone's hyping up this air raid offense. Is it really going to be an air raid offense? Because I'm not buying it until I see it.
Well, I'll tell you this. Will it be an air raid offense totally? I don't think so either. We have a lethal running back duo with Braylon Allen and Chez Malusi. So so long as Longo doesn't go crazy, forget about his two fantastic backs. I think we're going to have a mix of air raid with the ground and pound. I think that is going to be a lethal combination. Teams won't know what to do. You can run it down your throat with your running back duo. You can throw it through the air with Mordecai. You're not going to stop it because you have both options. It's up to Longo not to forget about his running backs. I don't think he will, but there's always that chance.
Yeah, on that win total, 8.5, not to go 9-3 after what they did last year. The defense wasn't at its best last year. The offense couldn't move a football. I know they brought in a lot of transfers on both sides of the ball. But under a first-year head coach with a lot of turnover, 9 wins is a lot to ask for. Are we sure we want to hit that juice line?
That's fair. But if you take a look at the schedule, do they have a tough road game? They go to Illinois. That will probably be their toughest road game of the season. And with that being said, every game that is a massive game, you have Iowa at home. You have Ohio State being the only East juggernaut coming to town in Madison at night. I just don't see 3 other games other than a potential Ohio State loss, which I still think is a toss-up in Madison. I don't see 3 more losses that are even potential, let alone, yeah, they're losing these games.
They lost to Wazoo last year, and they're on the road this year.
I'm not as big on Wazoo as many people are. I don't think many people are big on Wazoo, but again, that was last year. I think Fickle's a fantastic coach. I think he's going to have his boys ready to go early season. I don't have a worry in the world.
And you have to admit, Camp Randall's a tough place to play. No matter how good you are, you walk into Camp Randall and you hear jump around, you're going to be intimidated. So I think that's a great pick.
Thank you.
Brant?
Yeah, we're locking it in.
Yeah, my pick is the freest money on the market right now with win totals. It doesn't matter where you're looking. I'm going Iowa over 8 wins. I know the line's like minus 165. I got it earlier when it was like closer to like minus 115. It's clearly shifting because the odds makers know it's free. Iowa, like Brandon said, with Wisconsin, their schedule is even easier. Honestly, they don't have Ohio State. They don't have Michigan. They do have Penn State on the road, which is easily their hardest game. And what was that? It's probably whiteout. I think it is. So yeah, I mean, we can chalk that one up as an L. Penn State's a very good team this year, and then they do play Wisconsin and Madison, which is the only other really losable game on the schedule. It's Iowa. They're probably going to go 8-4 like they always do. But even at that, it's a push, and I think the team, is going to take a step forward on offense with Cade McNamara under center and the offense line with another year to gel together. It seems inevitable that they're going to get at least 9 wins.
Yeah, adding to that, I don't think Cade McNamara is going to lose you any games. I think he is one of the best game managing quarterbacks you'll find anywhere in the country. And I know it's Brian Ferentz. He can't. I mean, I could probably run a better offense than the guy sometimes, but Cade McNamara's got the football IQ. He's going to work with what he has, and I really don't think he's going to lose any games. So there's not going to be an Iowa game that they go 9-6 losing to North Dakota State this year. I don't have any worries about that. I think they're going to be fine on offense. The defense is formidable. I love the pick, Brent. I got to say.
Appreciate it.
Now to round out the picks for the season, I have a stretch. I have to say, not a lot of people like it, but I want to put my money where the mouth is. I'm going to take Michigan State at plus 5.5. I think they're bound to bounce back. I think they've gotten a lot of recruits on the offensive, defensive line. I think it's going to be a battle of the trenches. But also, they've got a really big test at the beginning of the season, and I think that's their moment to shock everyone. They have Washington coming to East Lansing, and I think that everybody's going to say, "Oh, it's a blowout. You got a top 10 team coming into East Lansing. It's going to be a blowout." No, but they don't stand a chance. I think that's going to be the game of the year for Michigan State that really sets this bet right and wrong. Now, it could go really poorly, but I think it's early in the season. You're still kind of figuring out your roster. Everybody knows there's a hiccup in week 3 and week 4 for a lot of the big teams. It's their first big test. And I think Washington's going to fall for it. They're going to go in there thinking this was a 5-win team last year. They're going to do the same exact thing this year. They're going to get swept under the rug, and they're going to be an underdog in that game at home. I think it's got all the works.
Hey, the script was flipped last year for that game.
Exactly.
Michigan State was the ranked team going on the road to Washington, an unranked team, and everyone's like, Spartans money. Spartans are wrecking them. And Mike Penix and the Huskies had something else to say. They went in there and absolutely just tore him up. No defensive backs whatsoever on that team. I mean, given Mike Penix to Odunze and McMillan, all those guys is a pretty dirty connection. But I
have a tough schedule. I will say 5 top 25 matchups, 3 of which are at home, which I think is beneficial. But you do have Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State on your schedule, which is 3 immediate. I don't want to say immediate, but it pretty much is a guarantee to lose at least 2, if not 3 of those games. They are just absolutely formidable opponents within the Big Ten.
I'm not ready to write off Paul Bunyan's axe yet.
No, you don't think?
I think Michigan State could contend in that game. Obviously, it
I,
depends. It depends how both team
They
seasons are going
always
to that
seem
point.
to contend in that game, no matter what the record is, no matter what the odds say. I mean, they were 20-point underdogs the COVID year. I know it's the COVID year, but they went out and smacked the Wolverines around. So never say never. It's going to be a tough bet to make, but we'll ride it.
we're gonna ride it. We're gonna see what happens. Those were lovely picks, gentlemen. So moving into the next segment, we got week 1 coming up. I know Big Ten first game is tomorrow. So I really would just want to hear from you guys. What game are you most excited for? And is there a player, a spotlight player that you're kind of looking for, or is it a line, an anytime touchdown type of deal? What is exciting for you? And Brant, we can start with you for this one.
Okay, just my favorite bet for any game this weekend.
Yeah, just kind of that, or your favorite matchup within the Big
Favorite
Ten, something you're
matchup.
excited about.
Well, yeah, one matchup that I'm really looking forward to watching, kind of more under the radar for most people, other than, I mean, Big Ten fans probably are aware, but you've got Toledo, who just won the MAC last year, going on the road Saturday night to play in Champaign, Illinois against the Fighting Illini. And that is going to be a hell of a game. The spread's 9 right now. So odds makers don't think it's going to be anywhere near a blowout. Toledo's quarterback, DeQuan Finn, is returning. He's electric. He can scramble. He can pass. And then another fun matchup just in that game, Toledo's star receiver, Jerwan Newton, is actually the brother of stud, probably first round pick, defensive tackle for Illinois, Jerzon Newton. So we got a little brotherly love in that game. And another reason why I'm penciled in, zoned in on this matchup is because Toledo, being out of the MAC, has a great chance to beat Illinois because the MAC, there's been a MAC team for the past 16 years that has beat a Big Ten team. And Toledo is probably the number 1 team that has a good chance to make it 17, unless Central Michigan does it to your Spartans in week 1, which would be devastating.
That would be devastating for my pick.
But yeah, I think that one's going to be a lot of fun. I think the 9-point line is very fair on this one. And it's really tough to pick a side there.
I
like it. Brandon, what about you?
Give me Penn State under the lights at home against West Virginia. Penn State is minus 20.5 right now. But Neil Brown is on the hot seat for the Mountaineers this year. He's going to have to come out. Aller, first start under the lights. I really think that Brown's going to want to fire him quickly. He's going to want to send exotic blitzes like he's known to do and try to rattle the guy early. But I don't think that has any prayer of happening. I think Aller is going to potentially lead the Nittany Lions to the college football playoff this year. So I'm going to have to say my favorite play would easily be Penn State minus 6.5. First quarter, I think they're going to come out firing. The fans are going to be raucous. They're going to either draw 3 and out quickly out of West Virginia, or they're going to go score quickly themselves, and they're just going to pound West Virginia all night. So that would be my favorite play. But if Neil Brown can manage to rattle Aller and make this a game, that will worry me for Penn State long term. I mean, it is first game, so I'll give him a pass if he does struggle a little bit. But I love Aller. I love Penn State this year. I think it's going to be a not so great game for the Mountaineers, but man, it's going to be fun to watch.
It's going to be some free money for us at Big Bookie, that's for sure. Now, I'm going to stay interconference. This is probably not a game that everybody thinks is going to be a matchup, but I just want to touch on the Indiana-Ohio State game. I think it's free money, taking an anytime touchdown with Marvin Harrison. I think this guy, he is going to light the Big Ten on fire just as much as he did last year, if not more. I'm super excited to see the kind of numbers he puts up this year, but more importantly, I'm focusing in on the quarterback play. Just recently, we saw that Kyle McCord was announced as the QB1 for Ohio State, but Devin Brown will be getting time on Saturday as well. So I'm really interested just to see the dynamics between those two and just to see how many points they can put up, because I don't think that Indiana is really built this year. I think it's going to be a sort of a down year for them, and I think this is going to be Ohio State's chance to really – their quarterback's a chance to really show out and really prove themselves. So I'm looking forward to that, to see who can really step up this week 1.
Yeah, I feel like McCord was just named. It was not named the starting quarterback for the season. He's the week 1 starter.
Yeah.
I think both quarterbacks are going to get a half of football. I don't think Indiana's good enough to keep up. So I
Yeah.
really think we're going to see first half Kyle McCord. We're going to see second half Devin Brown. Both guys are going to want to prove I'm the guy that's going to lead us to a national championship this year. It is going to be such a fun dynamic to watch. I don't think it stretches past this week. I think after this week, Ryan Day will have his quarterback for the rest of the season. But this week, I really think both guys 50-50. We're going to see some lights.
Yeah, exactly. So moving into one of our last topics, I just want to hear your guys' week 1 outlook, what your favorite bet of the week is, and if you have any underdogs for our fans out there. I know that we love underdogs on this show, and you guys are going to hear a bunch throughout the season. But Brandon, why don't you get us started off?
Well, my underdog might actually just be my favorite play. We are going with the Nebraska Cornhuskers tomorrow night in Minnesota. +7 is the line right now. I'm taking the money line. I'm taking the +7. I'm drinking the Rule-Aid, man. I'm such a Matt Rule guy. I really think he is a college player coach. He is going to get his guys fired up week in, week out. I love quarterback Jeff Sims. He's an athlete. It's going to be hard to contain the man. I think they go in there. I don't know if they're going to win the game, but I'm taking the money line. I think the value is way too high not to. I'm taking the first half +3. I think they're going to come out and they're going to prove, hey, we're back, baby.
Hey, that's another one where I'm gonna have to pump the brakes on you, Brandon. After doing some thinking about this, you've got a Nebraska team who's turning over their coaching staff, turning over their quarterback, turning over practically every relevant position. They've got a few returners, but you don't really want returners from that squad that was trash last year. So it's a brand new Cornhuskers team, brand new look, new schemes, new offense, new defense, and they're going into Minnesota on the road. Not the easiest place to play against a PJ Fleck coach team that has been running that system for the past few years. Sure, you got a new quarterback, you got a new running back after they gave Mo Ibrahim 45 carries a game for the past 3 years, and he's currently on the IR because of that. But I mean, it's going to be the same systems. They're going to be running the ball, and turning to that defense to kind of stick it to them. And I don't really see a situation where Nebraska pulls out the win. Can they cover the spread? Absolutely. It's going to be a hell of a game. It'll be a close one, but I don't think they can pull out the win. Anyways, I do think my bet of the week, I don't even know the odds are on this, so I'm probably going to have to double check before I actually place it. But I like a Jeff Sims anytime rush touchdown. I think he's a great quarterback, and I think Matt Rule's going to have him scrambling all over the place. And I think if you get it down to the goal line, you just Jalen Hurts him over.
I love that play. I will be placing that as well. I don't know the exact odds, but I don't care. It's free money. Could be -10,000. It's happening. There's no way it does.
I love it. Brand, do you have any other bets you want to shout out or favorite matchup of the week? Otherwise, I can give the viewers mine.
Yeah, I kind of already touched on the Illinois Toledo game. That was the one I was leaning towards. But I'm really tempted to go Toledo +9 in that game. I think they're going to keep it really close, but at the same time, I could see Illinois maybe pulling away at the end. So TBD on that one. Don't go crazy on it yet.
Yeah, I don't know much about this Illini team coming into the season. It seems like last year they were right on the cusp. Seemed like a lot of the West was fighting at the end. Whether it was Purdue, Iowa, Illinois, there were just a bunch of teams in a dogfight, and I don't know who reloaded, who didn't. So I like the caution on that bet because they could come out and be fully reloaded, but I do like that +9 bet.
Yeah, I mean, last year they came out and laid a stinker week 1. They lost to IU. Not many teams do that, but they so
I had my money line in that game, so it was quite disappointing.
Yeah, that Toledo +9 is looking a little more tempting the more I think about it.
Yeah. So to round out the weekend, we do have a Sunday game since it is week 1, no NFL football. I'm going to take the Rutgers -6.5. I do not like the off-season turmoil that is going on up at Northwestern with Pat Fitzgerald being gone and all of the allegations that are surrounding that team. I think it's going to be really tough to focus on football right now, since that's still a lot of it is still swirling in the air. There hasn't been much um, outlets or anything within the media outside of the first reports and the rumors that were coming out. And I think this Rutgers team has been dogged on, as they should have been for the last 4 or 5 years. But I think they come out and stun everybody week one. I think they get the job done, and it's going to be an exciting first week for Rutgers. I don't think it continues after this, but I am going to take the -6.5.
Yeah, I love that play. I don't really see a way that Northwestern keeps it too close. They can maybe have it halftime, but I think Rutgers pulls away by the end of that one.
Even without the turmoil, I don't think that is a roster that's built to win many Big Ten football games. So
Yeah, and I mean, you saw what happened last season when it was Nebraska and Northwestern over in Ireland. They both had terrible seasons. So I think it'll just carry over to this season as well. They didn't do much roster bolstering, as you both said. But do you guys have any closing remarks? Any lines you want to give our viewers before we close out the show?
Yeah, one last play. It's a Heisman play. I had this in my notes. Kind of to go back off the conversation with the OSU quarterback battle. Kyle McCord and Devin Brown both saw their line shift significantly for the Heisman after it was announced Kyle McCord to be starting week one. But as Brandon mentioned, this is by no means a locked in, full blown. He's the quarterback going forward. And Devin Brown saw his line shift from 3,500 to 7,500. Pound it now.
Wow.
You would be shocked to hear, Brent. That is my exact Heisman play for my notes. Devin Brown plus 7,500. I agree. The quarterback situation is not over. I feel like Devin Brown's going to show up. He's going to show out. And at plus 7,500 with a quarterback who's probably going to be on a top 5 team at the end of the year, a top 5 offense for sure. 7,500, you have to take it. The value is just too high at this point.
And I think it speaks volumes just in that Ohio State quarterback room. You know that McCord's been groomed by Stroud for the past year through the practices, and for him to not jump out and just outright take it, I think that does really bode well for your plus 7,500. I think that Devin Brown is really showing out in camp, and it's making it tough for Ryan Day, and we're going to see what he's really made of, what they're both really made of this weekend. So I'm excited to see that play out.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's every year you have a guy who just breaks out of nowhere, and I see no reason that that's not Devin Brown this year, especially in a year where, I mean, it happens every year where you've got a returning Heisman winner, and they're like the odds-on favorite, like Caleb Williams. They never go back. They never go back and win it. There's always a guy who breaks out and comes out of nowhere and snags it, and that guy's Devin Brown this year.
100% agree.
Awesome. Well, this is a great first show. Thank you, Bram, for coming on. So we will be posting these every Friday. From now on, we'll have weekly shows giving you guys the best odds, best matchups, and our favorite underdogs. But this week, for week one, since we do have football tomorrow, we are going to push this out. We're going to try to have it out by noon tomorrow, Thursday, August 31st. And we hope that you guys will tune in and watch us for the rest of the season.